as I mentioned before we went on that short break, we'll be starting strong with a look at Nigeria, where protests are igniting over soaring living costs and fuel prices. We're asking the question, is President Tinubu's economic reform agenda sparking more than just debate? We'll be taking a look at all of that and helping us to dissect the situation out in Nigeria is Dr. AbdulRahman Abu Hamis from the University of Abuja, who's joining us via our virtual platform. Dr. AbdulRahman Hamisu, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Salam Media and Juma Mubarak.
Thank you for having me, my brother. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And thank you for the good job you're doing.
No, really appreciate it. I think first and foremost, I want you to just give us an insight, kind of like almost an overview about some of the primary factors that are driving the current protests in Nigeria, and how have the recent government reforms contributed to the economic crisis that has grappled the continent's biggest and most thriving economy.
Thank you very much for your opening question. I want to say that we have about, say, 4 factors that are driving this very particular protest. Number one, that people are not mentioning, that is silent, underpinning factor is corruption. The other one is the opulence and the insensitivity of the elites who are the ruling class. The third one is Mr. President reform that is not tied to anti-corruption. And then the place of vested interest in governance. All of these 4 are combined together to create an explosive situation that is becoming increasingly unbearable to the people every day in Nigeria. So, for instance, you have a nation that is rich, that is that is buoyant and can cater for the needs of the people. Yet these persons are poor because of the activities of vested interests. I give you an example. Are you aware that about 3 weeks ago, there was a scandal involving the NNPCL that is supposed to manage our petroleum resources? Now, the issue has been that Nigerians are paying high cost on premium motor spirit as well as AGO because our refineries are not working. And there you have a Nigerian that went out of his way to build a refinery for Nigeria. And then the government is saying that it cannot supply such a refinery crude oil, so they prefer to import. And one of the lies that we have been told as Nigerians is the landing cost. At a point in time, the landing cost was more than the amount that is being paid per liter on the premium motor spirit. Now, with this refinery, that would have eliminated the landing cost that would have brought the fuel from, say, Brazil, from United States, from wherever. It would have even eliminated issues around insurance and transportation, as well as every other cost that is dubiously calculated to inflict maximum pain on the people of Nigeria. And in Nigeria, once you touch the price of fuel, you've affected every household because the entire economy is dependent on diesel or on PMS. So the removal of subsidy is not even the issue. But the question is, what is the policy directive that will caution the effect of the removal of this very particular subsidy in the first place? So the subsidy is not benefiting the people because the people that are into this business are those that are benefiting from it. So it's a corrupt entity, or it's a corrupt, vast corruption network that has been put in place to suck Nigeria. So that is why I said it's a constellation of factors. The lack of anti-corruption war in this government. The second thing is the fact that the government is not serious to rein in vested interest so that we can have an economy that is built on patriotism, a sort of patriotism that pushed somebody like Dangote to build such a refinery in a very difficult environment like Nigeria.
But Brother AbdulRahman, I hear all that you're saying, but the latest that I read, coming out of Nigeria was the fact that, in response to the escalating economic challenges, the President Tinubu has approved almost what 2.5 billion injection into the economy. This funding was sourced from the World Bank, if I'm not mistaken. Hasn't this kind of in any way alleviated the economic woes that Nigeria is currently facing? What did any kind of difference, if there was any, this 2.25 billion have when it comes to alleviating and trying to regenerate the economy of Nigeria?
You see, if there is anything that can regenerate the economy of Nigeria, it's not money. The problem of Nigeria has always not been money. The problem of Nigeria has always been the mismanagement of these monies. You inject the money into the economy and then you don't see anything.
All right, we seem to have lost Brother AbdulRahman a bit there, but I wanted to touch on that specifically. I think Nigeria is obviously navigating some significant economic challenges, and a lot of analysts are, saying this was prompted by a series of quote unquote bold reforms introduced by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And in his response to Nigeria's escalating economic challenges, Tinubu approved a 2.5 billion injection into the economy. And this funding was sourced from the World Bank and aimed to enhance revenue and support economic reforms amid the severe cost of living. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, and once we got Brother Dr. AbdulRahman back on air, we'll try and dissect that. He did mention before we lost him there that the problem in Nigeria is not necessarily the issue of money, but I think, as it is the case with the rest of the continent, is the fact that money is there, but ultimately doesn't trickle down to benefit the men and women and children on the ground. So we'll continue with that interview right after this.
All the distractions, when do they even get time to study? As a mother, all I can really do is make sure they have all they need to perform at their best. That's why I choose to include Sunfoil, triple refined pure sunflower oil with every meal I make. Naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether I'm cooking, frying or baking, I know every dish will be a wholesome one. Sunfoil, now we're cooking.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042-203-1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
After the recent attacks on Gaza, many families have been displaced with their homes left destroyed. Through your donations, our teams are on the ground in Gaza, providing support and delivering necessary aid to families affected. The people of Gaza need your help. Give hope. Donate today to Penny Appeal South Africa. www.pennyappeal.org.za 031 1100 573.
We are here on the ground with Penny Appeal organizations in Gaza.
Valley's Motor Spares. We supply motor spares and accessories for all makes and models of motor cars, LDVs, buckies, trucks, and earth-moving equipment. We deliver on time, every time. Please contact us via WhatsApp on 014-592-0925 or call 014-592-0925 or visit 28 Zenderling Street, Rustenburg. Remember the name, Valley's Motor Spares.
Are you planning a wedding, birthday party, corporate event, or any special occasion? Kane's Catering Services got you covered. Our catering services are here to elevate your event to unforgettable heights. From tantalizing appetizers to mouth-watering main courses and desserts, our culinary creations are crafted with passion and precision to delight your guests' taste buds. Our spit braai is a talk of the town. Indulge in succulent, tender meats, slow roasted to perfection over an open flame. Kane's Catering Services chefs bring creativity and expertise to every dish they prepare, ensuring that each bite is a culinary masterpiece. We take care of your guests while you relax and enjoy every moment of your function. Whether it's plated meals to a simple buffet, we are on top of it all. Ready to start planning your perfect event? Get in touch with us today to discuss your catering needs and request a personalized quote. Let us take your event to the next level with our exceptional catering services. Kane's Catering Services, situated at number 373 Jabundlovu Street, Pietermaritzburg. Call now 033 342 3511 or email us on info@kanees.co.za for Pietermaritzburg and surrounding areas only. Visit www.kanees.co.za.
Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media. This is Salam Media coming to you live from South Africa.
Welcome back. You're still tuned in to your home of humanitarian journalism with myself, Salailo Makwidiri, and we're still sticking with the Nigerian situation, the protest that was sparked, Africa's giant economy, one that it can't be allowed to fail, because ultimately, if Nigeria fails, the whole continent fails. And we're still talking to Dr. AbdulRahman Abu Hamisu. He's a lecturer with the Department of Political Science and International Relations out at the University of Abuja, and is joining us telephonically. Dr. Hamisu, thank you so much for joining us. You still there?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity again to continue with my thought.
All right.
I was saying that the injection of such money is not the problem. We've seen money injected into the system before they yielded nothing because of corruption, because of abuse of office. You have a situation whereby monies are injected into the system only for the elites that are supposed to apply this money to the needs of the people, appropriating the same money to fund their own luxuries, buying luxurious cars. For instance, you have a 360 member House of National Assembly. And each of them were given 150 million naira to buy SUVs. They are convenience when Nigerians are suffering from insecurity and hardship. The second thing is that if we want to see Nigeria progress, and for money invested in the system to give the desired result, there must be a serious anti-corruption war that is preventive, not reactive. What do I mean by that? You allow certain people to steal public funds, then you spend public funds to prosecute them to return the funds after they must have spent it. Not a lot of conviction would have brought back the impact the money would have made on the life of the people. And that is what we are having in this country. The second thing is insecurity. Most of the viable areas, the most fertile areas that used to provide food for the nation, is currently ravaged by insecurity. And then despite the amount of resources that have been channeled into solving this security situation, the situation has persisted. And then it's abound everywhere that I've indicated. But what is happening is as a result of the money is not getting to the right places so that people could be committed, the soldiers, the other military personnel will be committed to fighting the insecurity. If you cannot do this, then the hunger strike and the hunger protest will continue. Lastly, as I said, the entire economy is not dependent on power supply. Because corruption has eaten deep into the power supply, even the privatization has not yielded anything because it was mere transfer of this national asset into the hands of cronies, not cronies that would add value to the national grid. So Nigerians are left with one source of supply, which is the premium motor spirit and the AGOs. So if you have a distance of say 1,000 kilometers to cover, the rail system is not connecting the whole country. So you need a truck that will take up to 20 hours to deliver. On top of that, again, we have bad roads. All of these things combined cannot be solved by just mere waving of the hand. It cannot be solved by injecting funds into the system. It can only be solved when people are committed and patriotic enough to say, look, we've been doing this over and over again. We've not achieved any result. We need to be able to bring Nigeria back to life so that Nigerians can, so if you produce cheaply in your community, so transport it to a market is a problem. And anywhere you go in the market, the first thing people will tell you is cost of transportation. Nobody is saying cost of input. Nobody is saying cost of land. So we need this infrastructure. We need our power system to work. We need the railway system to connect the country. But that is not the priority of some of these elite. Once the budgets are made, the first thing we see is consumption. To fly abroad, to buy SUVs. And look at what Ibrahim Traore is doing in Burkina Faso. He has refused to buy new SUVs. Instead, he's using trucks that are repaired. And look at what he is able to achieve. So if we eliminate some of these costs and eliminate the luxuries of these individuals, then Nigeria will have a lot of money to work. And then on top of that, we should have a robust anti-corruption system that checkmates every office holder's actions before they are taken.
I think the story of Nigeria is not unique, particularly here on the African continent. I think just this year we've seen the protests out in Kenya, which ultimately forced significant changes in the government's approach. We also saw, similar protests in Uganda. Well, there hasn't been much that has happened there. But do you think in any way, the protests in Kenya might, have a similar outcome in Nigeria? How might these demonstrations influence future policies and leadership in the country? Are you confident that the leadership in Nigeria has the same ear that the Kenyan government had and ultimately listened and understood the needs and demands of the people of the country?
Yes, from what has happened so far, I want to predict that the government will act in its own interest. Because from what I've seen, these persons will not back down soon. They've gotten to the point. Protest is not a Nigerian thing. If you look at it way back, it's just a spontaneous thing and it fizzles away. But since the NSAS protest and what is happening now, what is happening around us in Kenya and other places, these protests have come to stay. And from what the president has done so far in terms of trying to down tension, I will say that he's a listening president and that he must listen to them because himself is being tested. All what he said he stood for in his entire lifetime is what is coming to him on the face. He has been an ardent protester right from the era of the military up to the subsidy scam, which is supported. So he's an advocate of free speech, he's an advocate of democratic rights, and that is exactly what the people are exercising. But what is important is for the president to be inclined to listen to the people and do the right things. He shouldn't shield anybody because they belong to the same political party. This is what is killing Africa. You allow somebody in government and the person continues to mismanage the common destiny of the people, and then the person is not sanctioned because they feel that it's relevant to winning election. I believe if you perform and you listen to the people will continue to elect you. Take the case of Malaysia, when Mahathir decided to leave power. He was able to stage a comeback at age 80 something, simply because there was unwritten covenant between him and the people as a performer, as a redeemer, and as a progressive Malaysia, and people holding in ISC. He never had billions, he never had private jet. And you can't tell me that there is no money, there is nothing to be done, and then the president is acquiring new private jets, and when Nigerians are hungry and angry. This is part of the elite insensitivity that I talked about. So the president must understand the psychological composition of these persons that are projecting and do what he wants. I know that in government and governance, there is always a conflict. The conflict is what is right as somebody who is in government and what is right as somebody who is outside the government. So there must be a balance between these particular conflicts. And the most important thing is not how you view governance, but how the people relate with what you are doing. So if you're a listening type and you're able to listen and come down to their level to talk to them, then they will listen to you. It's unfortunate that up to this moment, the president is yet to address the nation. I felt that it's long overdue, so that as the event progresses, we will be able to understand, talk to the people, and gauge the mood of the people by receiving feedback. Left to the security is going to be another crackdown, because there will be always security before that some unscrupulous elements want to hijack the situation and topple the government. There will be those kind of security report. But if he allows himself to be drawn into that direction, then he will become the first democratic dictator that Nigeria will produce, because he is an ardent supporter of democracy all his life. So if you are not saying that the best right of the people under democracy, which is protest, is taking away, so what are you turning yourself into, and how do you want the world to relate with you?
All right. I think we're going to leave it there. Dr. AbdulRahman Abu Hamisu giving us insight on the lived realities of the people of Nigeria that, ultimately sparked those massive protests that have erupted across the country. Thank you so much. We're going to leave it there. And I'm sure as the story develops, we'll definitely be touching base with you.
Thank you for me.
All right. I think, the protests out in Nigeria resonate, I think, with, all of us here on the African continent. I mean, similar movements in Kenya, Uganda, also the same story. I think it's quite clear that the quest for economic stability and effective governance is becoming a unifying call across the continent. The challenges faced by Nigerians today echo those of their African neighbors, underlining the urgent need for systemic change and responsive leadership. A big thank you to our guest, and I'm pretty sure as the story continues to unfold, we'll definitely be hearing a bit more from Nigeria as we did with Kenya. But there's a wave, okay? African leaders watching, they're listening. Did they learn from what happened during the Arab Spring? Start small. Protests here, protests there. Next thing you know, wave after wave after wave across the continent. People of Africa are tired. Going to leave it here for now. After the break, we'll be turning our attention to the Middle East, where we'll be, unpacking the impact of Ismail Haniyeh's assassination. We'll be speaking to Palestinian academic and political activist based in Turkey, and Dr. Sami Al-Aryan. He'll be giving us more insight on what the future holds for the people of Palestine as they continue to struggle for freedom and their own self-determination whilst surviving an ongoing genocide. More on that after this.